You need to invest in yourself through technical skills, through your knowledge. You need to build, if you need to build a YouTube channel, if you need to build an online course, if you need to learn how to build different things and connect and network or whatever, you need to take the time to invest and grow in those areas. Hey, what's going on, cash flow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. And for this video, we're gonna be talking about the 4 steps that you need to take if you wanna earn more income. Now, if you follow the channel, obviously I talk a lot about money. If you are just checking this out for the first time and you're finding me, I ask just subscribe to the channel, click the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video, because I tell you what, I'm bringing a lot of content to the table that's not gonna just help you with your money, on how to maximize your money. I'm focusing on safe money concepts that are gonna help you weather what's about to come. And the purpose of this video is that the world is kind of full of uncertainty right now, and we don't know the direction that the world is gonna go, but I'm a big believer that your ability to create revenue, your ability to create more income is gonna be your greatest financial need. A lot of people right now are worried about, like, how do I save? How do I protect my money? And while that's great for the people that have a lot of money, most Americans are in a position where they don't have enough money saved. They don't have their reserve fund. They don't have an emergency fund. They don't have an opportunity fund. They're not set up and positioned to take advantage and thrive in the coming recession that is inevitable at this point in time. I would argue that we're already in a recession and that it's going to be prolonged. I think it's going to get deeper. It's going to get worse. And I don't think there's going to be a soft landing as Jerome Powell tries to manage inflation and the stock market and the unemployment rate and all these different things. And so the purpose of this video is, I believe you and everybody else on this earth, has the ability to earn more income. And I think you have the greatest need in your life is to earn more income. And the number one thing that you can do to protect yourself is create secondary streams of income and to create side hustles and do all these different things. Now, this is not going to be a video about specific side hustles to do. This is going to be a video about conceptually, what can you do based on who you are to get to where you want to go, to build a side income that's going to help you actualize the results in your life that you are after. It's not about me trying to tell you to go do Turo or Airbnb or go drive Uber or anything of that nature. Like, all those things exist. They're all out there. I'm a big believer that you are where you are in life because of who you are in life. And if you want to achieve bigger results, you need to become something more. You need to grow and become who you want to be, who you need to be to accomplish and live the life that you want to live. And that's what this is all about. So without further ado, let's get into this. I put 4 things together, 4 ideas together, 4 kind of steps together that I think are sequentially, as I broke it down and thought to myself, out of the people that I've coached, out of my own journey that I've gone through, what are the steps that I had to go through to get to where I am right now? If I were starting over, if I were starting with nothing and I had 60 days to ramp up, 30 days to ramp up, to get to where I wanted to be, to build something, to create a side stream of income, to be able to have more control over the revenue coming into my life, what would I do? And this is it, so let's go. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to decide and get clarity about, what do you love to do? Think about it this way. If you can find and identify areas in your life that you're just passionate about, and these are the things that I'm telling you that you would do for free, right? So I think about myself, right? And I'm just gonna share my journey, and hopefully you can correlate that to your own life. You can make an association with your own life. I love personal finance. I love the economy. I love politics. I love the stock market. I love looking at all these things. I love money and real estate investing and all this stuff. So what do? I created a YouTube channel, and I do this. And guess what? My YouTube channel is a passive income source. Every time you watch a video, every time an ad comes up, and you don't skip it, so please don't skip the ads, I make money, right? And so, I'm kidding, if you want to skip them, skip them. But the bottom line is that this is something that I love to do. I love talking about these topics. I love serving people. And I'll tell you what, I didn't start this channel with the idea that I was gonna monetize it in a big way. I did this simply, it was my own creative outlet that I love to do. I love talking about this stuff. And for years, I was creating video with nothing really in return. I did it because it was something I loved to do, and I would do it for free. Now, conversely, so I'm talking about these personal finances, and now I can tell you that this channel is directly responsible for 7 figures of income, 7 figures of revenue, right? Like, so when you think about that, it's kind of mind-blowing that it's grown in 6 years from what was intended to be really nothing significant at all, but because I love doing it and I was consistent and I started with my passion, right? And most people, when I started this, by the way, everybody was like, Chris, nobody's ever gonna listen to you on YouTube. Like, nobody's gonna take personal financial advice on YouTube. Nobody's ever going to wanna meet with somebody about their money on a Zoom call. And guess what? The world has completely changed. We've done it, we're ahead of things. And because I wasn't worried about all that, and it didn't really matter about all that, I was just focused on doing something I love to do. And it was kind of more self-serving than it was for them. And I'm a big believer the best way to learn for yourself is to go teach. And so that's why I'm a big believer utilizing YouTube is a great outsourcing, or a great, I guess, creative source way to go out and take what you're doing and monetize it. But I also have other businesses that I flow through where, you know, I build relationships through people I meet through YouTube and the content, and then we can build relationships, joint ventures, partnerships, and stuff outside of that. But at the end of the day, number one, it all starts with doing something that you're passionate about. And so that passion can be a lot of things, right? Like I said, it's finance for me. My mother-in-law loves knitting. She's huge into knitting and sewing, right? She could start a channel on that. Go look it up. If you were to go look right now on YouTube for knitting and sewing and people that have courses and to monetize that, she's doing it anyway right now. She does it literally every single day. She's making blankets and, you know, just like clothing and hats and socks and all these different things for friends and family. She's doing it anyway. She loves it. Why she doesn't, especially with her relationship with me, why she doesn't create a channel and figure out how to like monetize it is beyond me. I guess she's older and doesn't need to, and like that is what it is. But that's an example. I also love off-roading. I could absolutely do this. I don't do this, which makes me question my own intelligence, because I should. I do a lot of off-roading, a lot of overlanding, a lot of camping, a lot of lifestyle kind of fun experiences. If that's me, I'm gonna go do it anyway. I love to do it. Why not document it and create content and do some fun stuff with it, right? Because if you can do that, you can slowly build an income source. Now, certain things are gonna create faster revenue than others, but at the end of the day, start with something that you love, start with something that you do for nothing. So once you do that, number 2 is that you need to find somebody who's doing what you love and is doing it successfully, because I promise you, if you love it, off-roading, personal finance, knitting, baking, my daughter loves baking, any of this stuff, there's somebody who's out there who's doing it successfully, right? So there's a woman, my daughter loves baking cakes. She's 11 years old, she loves to bake, and you can actually find, I've actually put a couple videos up of her baking, and we're gonna be starting to do more and more with her as she's getting older now, creating her own channel and creating her own business as an 11-year-old, you know, and I'm working with her on that. And so this is another thing that I would encourage you to do. And this is kind of like a side note that I wasn't planning on putting into this, but it's a way for you to connect with your kids. If you're like me and you have an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old, it's a way for you to like get your kids to start building good habits and start being a producer rather than a consumer, and you can connect with them at the same time. I don't know if you realize how powerful that is, but it's super cool. My kids are always coming up to me like, Daddy, like, let's make a video, let's like create content, let's do this. This is the new world, right? And it's what they want to do. It's going to make a hugely positive impact in their life, and I think it'll help your relationship at the same time. Now, that said, the point of number 2 here is that you can do this in any industry, whether it's, and I'm going to use my daughter as the example. She loves to bake cakes, so she was like, hey, let's start baking. So what did I do? This is just what I do. I went online and I said, all right, who are the people that are like have courses, that are streaming, that are doing YouTubing, and like big influencers in the cake space? And there's this woman, Yolanda, How to Cake It is her name. She's got 5 million followers on how to bake cakes, and the woman makes multiple $1 million a year on YouTube alone, just showing people how to bake cakes, okay? So that's just an example that I'm talking about. If you have my encouragement to you is that if you have a passion, just go do it. But now here's the next thing with number 2. Once you find the people that are doing it, do not be so intimidated that they're doing it amazingly and they've got a perfectly filmed out production and they've got all these things going on and there's no way you could compete with them and nobody would ever watch you if this person is over here doing this thing already, because I promise you that is not the case. When I first started my channel, nobody watched me. I went for a couple months, nobody watched at all. I remember like looking and remembering the first time that I had a video get more than 10 views and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. The bottom line is you need to just kind of do it anyway. If you know that you have a passion for it and that you believe that you're better at something than other people and that you have a skill and a gift that you could share with the world, create content around it. It's gonna help people, it's gonna serve people, and more importantly, it's gonna serve you. It's gonna force you to elevate your game. It's gonna force you to get better. It's gonna force you to grow, once again, into becoming who you need to be to get to where you wanna go. Because the journey is, when I first started this YouTube channel 6.5 years ago, I was not who I am now. I was really good. But if you go back and you organize my videos from the very beginning to now, you see the growth journey and the differences in my messaging and my presentation and my comfort and my energy, all this stuff. It all changes, you know, and that's gonna be the same for you and everybody else. So do not get intimidated by other people's level of professionalism, their level of production, their level of anything. You remember, you only need to be able to serve people who are where you were last year, the year before, and that's it. And if you can do that, a lot of people are actually going to be more connected with you because it's authentic. You're relatable. You're closer to them. They may not be able to say, if they wanted to bake, for instance, they may be interested in watching my daughter who's doing things a little more simply, because Yolanda, her cakes are like art pieces and they're a little too far above and beyond, right? Things like that. Just don't sell yourself short and realize that you can do it. So that's number 2. So then we get to number 3. And number 3 is investing in yourself. So what does that mean in this context? That means whatever you're looking to do, once again, you're not who you need to be yet. You need to invest in yourself through technical skills, through your knowledge. You need to build, if you need to build a YouTube channel, if you need to build an online course, if you need to learn how to build different things and connect and network or whatever, you need to take the time to invest and grow in those areas. Whether it's developing and taking a course on YouTube, whether it's taking a course on programming, whether it's watching Yolanda and learning how to make her cakes, finding somebody else who is doing what you're doing and doing a course and figuring out how they built that course, how they put it together, what platforms, what online course management system that they used, how they do it, how they film it, and then going out and learning how to just, you know, pick up your phone and use it as a video camera, buy a tripod, get the right microphone, get the right stuff. Like, those are technical things that are very simple to learn, that go a long ways from a production perspective, that elevate the quality, that are really intimidating, but they don't take a lot of energy to learn. It just takes a certain level of specific intent to know what to focus on to get there. And so by investing in yourself, you are growing and your level of comfort will go up. I call it the competence-confidence loop. I learned this from Brendan Burchard. The more competence you have, so when you learn the microphones, when you learn the cameras, when you learn the lighting, when you learn the angles and you do all these different things, when you learn how to build the platforms, you do it little by little by little. And what feels totally overwhelming to you right now, you're gonna build your competence. That's gonna give you more confidence. And the more confidence you have, you're gonna build up and you're gonna expand your competence even more. And this loop goes into infinity. If you've ever seen the Life 180 logo back there, it's not by accident that we kind of have a pseudo infinity symbol shape into everything, because I believe everybody needs to live life intentionally for excellence. And that competence-confidence loop plays a huge role into your journey to success. And that just is what it is. And so by investing in yourself, it starts with those technical abilities, and it starts with you being willing to be bad until you're good at it. And that is a big foundational component and phrase that I love, and I say to myself every single day, because I'm no different. I have fears, I have challenges, I have ways that I try to practice what I preach, and I live on the edge of my comfort zone because I gotta constantly get better. I gotta constantly improve. What got me where I am is not gonna get me where I wanna go, which is the same for you. We may be in different places. We may have different levels of comfort. I may have different levels of understanding about all this stuff, but make no mistake about it, I'm not happy where I am. I wanna keep going. I'm happy about where I am. I'm not content, right? Like I think it's always important to be happy about where you are, but never be complacent. Never have complete contentment for where you are, right? Like that I think is an important thing to understand. So that's really important. But the next thing that I think that you need to do in investing in yourself is developing networking skills, developing the ability to connect with people and build relationships, whether it's joint venture relationships, strategic partnerships, developing your network out, because you'd be amazed how much other people can help you actualize your goals and dreams and connect you with the right people to be successful, whether it's networking in knitting groups to get people to really become raving fans about who you are, what you do, what you're building. They'll share it out. You can build communities doing it that way. Same with baking, same with cooking, same with personal finance, same with all this. Networking is, make no mistake about it, a lot of people go, well, I'm an introvert. I got news for you. Networking is not a personality type, it's a skill, okay? And a lot of people think that if you're not an extrovert, you can't network. And I'm gonna tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. So that goes back to number 3. As a whole, invest in yourself. And there's so many different ways that you can do it. Don't worry about taking massive leaps forward. Get better and better and better and better every single day. And you'll realize results. You'll look back a year from now and you won't even recognize who you were a year ago. So that gets us to number 4. And obviously 1, 2, and 3 we went through. Number 4 is really simple. Just get going. Just start, right? That's it. Just start. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. It goes back to what I said at the beginning. Your greatest need is more revenue. Your greatest need is more income, creation. Your greatest need psychologically is knowing that you have control over the results in your life. Going and punching a clock, working a job. Listen, I get it. There's a place for that. For most people in this world, I've never been one that I'm virtually unemployable, quite frankly. But the bottom line is, like, while I have never really been a W-2 employee person, I understand that most personalities out there kind of have a need for that. However, when you understand that you're just an employee, you're working for somebody else, they control your life. They're in control of the results in your life, because at any point in time, they can cut your paycheck off. So my question to you is, what are you doing intentionally on a weekly or daily basis to make sure that you're investing in yourself to make it so should anything happen, should you lose your job, you know that you're gonna have more control over the results in your life, that you know you're gonna have this side hustle, so to speak, that you're able to do, that you could pivot, that you could go to work. Let's say you're making $50,000 a year and you're working for anybody and you're making that $50,000 a year. You can go into that person and ask them for a 20% raise, right? And ask them for $10,000 more. They're probably gonna laugh at you. Or you could say, hey, if I need a 20% raise, I need to go out and create that for myself. I need to go out and make that on my own. And I promise you to go out and do, if you follow the first 3 steps that I talked about, and then number 4, you just start doing it while you have your plan A. Stop watching Netflix so much. Aside from this, stop watching so much YouTube, right? Stop being a consumer of a lot of stuff and start worrying about producing. If you watch YouTube, if you watch these other things, watch it for education, watch it for development, watch it for growth, right? Invest in yourself. And when you do that, what you're gonna find is you're gonna have a way easier time giving yourself a 20% raise by creation, right? Creation is what control is all about. If you can start going out and creating, you're gonna have more control of the results in your life. You're gonna be more proud. I think it's gonna have a more positive impact in your relationships with your spouse, with your kids, with your business, with your own pride, with your own self-confidence. You're gonna grow, you're gonna elevate. And I think you will look back and your life is gonna be drastically leaps and bounds ahead of where you ever thought it would be. And that's just part of the process. And so that's why I love doing this. So my encouragement to you is just go out, start, do these 3 things, and I promise you, you will have more control, you will get to where you want to go, and you will accomplish the number 1 thing that you need right now is having an extra stream of income and creating more revenue in your life and increasing your cash flow. That way, when times get hard, either they will A, not be as hard for you as the people around you, or B, you will be so far ahead and positioned to thrive and take advantage of opportunity that there will be a springboard or a catapult effect in you accomplishing your goals and objectives and mission in your life. So that's it. Any question, comment in the comment section below. If you haven't already, like I said, please subscribe, hit the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. If you found value in this, share it out. And until next time, have a blessed and inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.